For this week's edition of Monday with the Mayor, we're bringing in Terry Seitz. We're going to have a little question-answer session. This will be about gigacities. So Jasper's going to be the first one. But there's a lot of misnomers out there. One of them being,
well, before you go to misnomer, let's celebrate.
Yeah, let's celebrate.
Jasper, Indiana is becoming Indiana's first gigacity, which is essentially a city that will have a fiber optics build out throughout its city over the course of the next 3 years. And that is significant. President of the United States last week, just a day before our announcement on Thursday, was in Cedar Falls, Iowa, and said how rare that city was to have a gigabyte service. And here we are, Jasper, the next day, knowing this is going to happen. It is so rare to have this happen, to be able to have this technology that will enable our citizens, our schools, our corporations to have access, should they choose. It's a private company making a private investment, but should they choose, we're going to be running this all throughout the city. And we think that that ability for us to negotiate that with the needs that we have as a city government, which is what led to this. We had a request for proposal, 7 different companies, narrowed it down to 4, and we asked those 4 to build out the city. Some of them declined, and 2 of them said we have interest. And here we are this week of saying that Smithfield Telecom out of Bloomington is going to put fiber to the premise, that's fiber to homes and businesses throughout the city of Jasper in 2016, 17, and 18.
Okay, now we'll start with the misnomers. My apologies. The idea, though, Bloomington, they're outside of the area, but they have service in northern DuBois County.
Northern DuBois County, I know that there, I believe I got a note when this happened from someone at Wabash Valley Produce saying that they thoroughly enjoyed their service, no one else would touch them. They're in Jasper with a lot of our corporations. In fact, I know there were 2 corporations recently that just had upped their investment in Smithfield's fiber connectivity on their corporations. We didn't utilize that, weren't aware of that until they just said, oh, by the way, we've had this good service. I know that the foundation and the chamber were at our announcement, and they both said that Smithfield's been a chamber member and has worked this area for years, and the foundation said they've been a benefactor. So again, we could have chose a company from anywhere because we created a request for proposal process. We needed that service. The city government needed that service. We have vendors from all around, but ultimately we look at what our costs would be and the willingness to invest in the city. And that's a business decision that was important. No taxpayer dollars used for this. This is a multi-million-dollar private investment from Smithfield to build fiber out in the city. We issued essentially the invitation by saying, if you want to serve city government, we want you to serve and build out the city. That was our invitation, and that was a pretty bold and audacious move to ask them, but we thought we never could ask that question ever again. Once we have service in our city government, that day is gone. So we had several respondents, and this was the best one. So that's one response.
Yeah, and of course that takes care of the biggest question I've gotten, which is the cost part of it.
The cost part of it, it's going to be a private company. They will have to be competitive like anyone else, and I know they will be, and they'll bring service to your door. This is something that you'll have to choose whether you want to have what you existing have, whether you want to have whether that be cable, whether that be satellite, whether that be Frontier, Time Warner, all those vendors. They're wonderful vendors too. This will be another option for you. No one's being forced to have you take it, but that opportunity will exist. And let me explain giga. It's likely very few of us would need gigabyte download and upload. Right now we get by with 10 megs at our house, which basically gives us what we think is high-speed internet. But if you could imagine that you would put in water into a swimming pool in a straw, or you would put water into a swimming pool with a massive fire hose, that's the difference. Whether you need it or not, whether you want the service or not, that's really up to you and Smithfield when that time comes. And there will be, again, a phased build out.
Okay, and so how far, you say corporate city limits will be covered by this? Right,
it's the city limits of Jasper. We asked them to be able to serve that area. It's not going to be immediate. 2015 is going to be spent doing 2 parallel projects. One is pre-engineering the build out of the city. It's going to take probably anywhere from 9 to 10 months to do. And along with that, they promised us they would perform the services that the city of Jasper and Jasper Utilities requested, which is connecting 9 city buildings. We've budgeted for that. Those are things that we will use to pay for, and we had that in our budget to do already. Then in 2016, 17, and 18 will be the build out of the city in stages and phases. And if you go to jasper.smithville.com, you can kind of see more about that, and that'll be updated regularly. But ultimately, it's a private company investing private dollars into Jasper, bringing us fiber connectivity that all communities and areas in the state and in the nation completely desire. It's coming to Jasper. And our citizens need to be proud. They need to be pleased that there was foresight to be able to work this out. And we wish Smithville well in its relationship with the City of Jasper residents, because we think ultimately that's going to be, it's a pure business decision at that point. We will use their services here at City Hall and other places. And we welcome them to be our partners in our work here. But you've got to make your own decision when the build is done, and I see what you like.
And as a bit of a wrap up, is this something you guys could see now? It's coming to Jasper, but to other parts of the county who need it, like Huntingburg and Ferdinand.
During this whole process, we tried to have some opportunity to work with Huntingburg. And Mayor Spinner and I knew this from the day one. We had another company interested in perhaps could they do both. But when it came down to how we had to make our decision, we had this company, which already had a footprint here, enable some of the make-ready costs and things like that, or willingness to absorb that rather than have those be charges to the city. And then when we would be having our services to municipal and utility government, we literally were able to come down within just a few dollars of the absolute lowest vendor, and that vendor did not want to build out the city. So the utilities, for example, have 38 other locations where they could use fiber someday. It's not scheduled now. If you don't have a fiber build, then those 38 are off the table. So that weighed in heavily in our decision to say, wow, this company is going to build out the entire city. If we ever want to bring a substation into fiber, we can. For a vendor that didn't have that, then we couldn't. So those were key decisions for us. So ultimately, again, this has been a wonderful week for the city of Jasper with that announcement last Thursday.
So certainly more of a celebration than anything else.
Oh, absolutely. And I've been sitting on this for two months or so as we've gone through the holidays, and it's done everything I could to not say Jasper is doing something that no other city in Indiana is doing. Again, I might add, because we do that every once in a while. Anyway, and it's just, we've done that in the past, and this city has just had the ability to look forward and do things that others can't and others won't. And I do want to thank Smithville for being that vendor that was willing to be one of a couple to work with us in looking at building out our city and ultimately competing to get that business. To be able to have this build out, this work being done to build out all of the city with private investment, that just doesn't happen. People do not walk in with millions of dollars in their pocket and go, hey, Bradford, can I just go ahead and put fiber in your city? They have to look at the city. I think it shows how worthy we are for an investment. I think it shows our strength. I think it shows our credit, that our company, that our people have the ability to have services and purchase them. And ultimately, they had to make a market decision, and we're the recipient of that.
So as Ed Cole asked at the press conference, what do you got planned for this week?
We are working on, continue to work on things related to the master plan in downtown. Let's just put it that way.
All right, good enough. Thank you again, Mayor.
Thank you.
That's been Monday with the Mayor. We're back after this.